What is going on? I am so excited that you are here. Listen, I got 6 of my closest friends with me here today. So let me introduce myself, and I'm gonna let them introduce themselves. But we are CounterCulture Marriages. And so I am Leona. We're Leona and Omarr Carter, and we are passionate about really talking about all things intimacy in marriage as we collaborate with CounterCulture Marriages. And so we got the Msefyas, the Zimmermans, and the Labrador. So I'm gonna let them introduce themselves in that order, and so we can know who everybody is.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are from the time zone. We are Joseph and Marissa, and we are so excited for this conversation that we're going to have today, discussing all things marriage from all various vantage points. And stay tuned, ask your questions, engage with us. And this is an ongoing conversation, so we'll look forward to connecting with you over the course of the next several weeks, months, however long we're going to be together.
Yeah, we are Garrett and Chelsea Zimmerman of Transformed Couples. So excited to be part of CounterCulture Marriages. We are big believers in everything that CounterCulture Marriages stands for, what it represents, and the power and impact that it can have in relationships, marriages, partnerships, whatever title you give to the union you are in. We believe that it can be powerful and that you deserve what you desire, and we're looking forward to the partnership, to communicating, and that's what we specialize in, working with couples around communication. So happy to be here and looking forward to the conversation.
Hi, we are Javier and Shannan Labrador with 24/7 Marriage, and we consider ourselves marriage flippers. So we love flipping the marriage mindset and teaching really couples how to intentionally serve and pursue one another. Yes. So it's an honor for us to be part of CounterCultural Marriage, such a powerful team. And for each of you listening, stay connected and stay tuned. There's so much wisdom and years of experience with everybody on this call to be able to come alongside and help you change, transform, and restore your marriage. We're excited to be a part.
Amazing. So you've heard from each of us, and we happen to be a good looking bunch too. I mean, I'm just saying, right? You know, everybody looks so amazing. So listen, today we're going to deep dive. We're going to talk about intimacy in marriage. And so make sure you stay connected with us, and you can actually go to CounterCulture Marriages. You hear that S? You hear the S on the end of it? .com, right? CounterCultureMarriages.com, and follow our journey, and then grab your free gift there as well. And so I want to talk about, we're talking about how to shift the marriage mindset with intimacy in marriage. So I'm going to share a few points, and then we're going to just really kind of have a round table conversation, because, you know, we usually talk about intimacy in marriage, but you better believe these other couples talk about it as well in their own business, and we all deal with it. It's something that affects all of us. And so I want to share with you 3 areas to consider, to keep in mind when you're building intimacy in marriage. And so the first one is emotions. Now, this is a huge one. It's a huge one for me, because when I didn't understand, you know, my mind is one place and I need my body somewhere else, and I need my, you know, all the things, it starts with emotions. And so when I think about emotions, I think about for me, the preparation I needed in my emotions. Like, think about that. Here I am, you know, maybe I'm getting ready for a date night with a great guy, right? I'm getting ready for a date night, but I've had a hectic day at work. I'm thinking about the invoices that crashed while I was trying to send them. I'm thinking about the couple that didn't show up for the second time. What do I say to them? I'm thinking about all those things, yet I still need to do some preparation in my emotions so I can show up. And
I need zero preparation.
And like his emotions.
Like I could shut everything off.
Yeah, I don't know how he do that.
It's gone. Focused.
So he might come to date night like, hey, oh, you looking sexy, hey, and I'm just like, hey, okay. It's different for me, and I and I know a lot of women that I help. You have to caress me and hold me emotionally before you ever do it physically, right?
And I'm like, what's taking you so long? What's the problem?
Right. And so once I knew that, and so I might say to him, there'll be times where we're getting ready, maybe going out to a restaurant, going to do karaoke, and I'll say, you know what? I need a minute. I need 10 minutes. And I might need to decompress from the day, put some extra makeup on, put my super red lipstick on so I can be connected, right? So that I can be present. Like, oh, let me ask you, how does it feel with those times that you knew I wasn't present? You're like, hello, Leona. What did that feel like when you knew that I wasn't present?
Hello, Leona. It's like that was it. It was just pretty much like, here I am over here waiting. Like I said, I'm always ready. I shut everything off quickly. It doesn't take long for me to prep mentally, physically. Like I'm always ready.
And I remember we was watching a movie. I have no idea what movie it is, but it was a couple at dinner, and I think she texted him right at dinner and said, hello, right on their phone, because they were in front of each other, but both somewhere else, right? And that's how it is. So what is that for you? Like, as you're thinking about how you show up in your marriage, what do you need to do to emotionally prepare so that you're present? It's nothing more annoying than sitting there next to someone who's not there, right? That you can tell there's somebody. You're asking the simplest question. I like that shirt. Where did you get it from? And they're like,
Cricket.
You're like, hello. Oh, what did you say? And you're like, okay, is this how the whole night's gonna be, right? So that emotions that emotion, that's number one, your emotions. What preparation you need to do to kind of prepare for that, right? Number two, okay, you start with number two.
What?
Right, number two.
Environment.
Yeah. Let's see. Make sure our environment. So like for me, the environment it's everything. What is the environment like fostering intimacy? What is that environment like for you?
Don't really matter. We always talk about that too. Like environment don't matter. It's like whether it's elegant or the movie theater. None of that stuff matters to me. Like this stuff kind of matters to her, the mood, the setting, I'm like, whatever.
You guys see what I'm working with here? You see what I'm working with? And the environment, we recently wrote a book, and we're talking about the environment for each is different, right? And so for me, environment is huge. Like I cannot relax in a stinky environment. Shoes are over there, or relax in a, loud environment, or, so environment is huge. And it's different for everyone. It doesn't matter to him. But me, I'm like, no, why is that like, right? So, it's just like, imagine going into a restaurant and you're going to a 5-star restaurant and you're like, so in your mind, you're like, oh, wine, candles, setting, you have all the, and then you go in there and kids are running around. A kid is in the back at a table banging on a pot. There's super bright lighting, orange walls. You're gonna be like, whoa, wait a minute, this is not what I had in mind, right? And so, it's like fostering the environment for what you want to do, just like you study. When you're studying for a test, it's quiet, you're playing music with no words, right? You got your coffee right here, because you're fostering, and we do it all the time. We foster the environment for what we want to grow.
And I'm always conscious of, I'm such a homebody. Like I get off work, I want to go home. I like going home. I love home. Home is where it's at. Like, I want to go home. And she's always out. Let's go out. Let's go do this. Let's go do that. Let's so sometimes I'm like, I got to change my mind and like think about, okay, I know she's going to want to go out. So I'm already gearing my mind towards wherever she's probably thinking, which is out. And I'm always thinking in, she's thinking out. So I'm like, okay, she's going to want to go out. So get your mind ready.
Yeah, it makes a difference. And so he's considerate of me, and then I'm considered, because I don't always, sometimes I know he wants to stay in. And so so number one, emotions, number two, environment, and number three, boundaries. Now listen, this is a good one, because like, I'm not going to deep dive. I'm gonna calm down. Like, I already feel myself getting all excited, but I'm talking boundaries with your family, boundaries with work, boundaries with kids, boundaries with, all the things that affects your intimacy. So let me talk about kids for a minute. I think, let's see, out of all of us, I think I have the most kids. So I have a right to talk about, no, I'm kidding. But we have 6 kids. We have 6 children, and setting boundaries for your children makes a world of difference when you're trying to connect intimately, right? And so if you can't ever get your child to follow the 8 p.m. bedtime that you've established, then, he's not following directions, she's not following, and then here it is 10 o'clock and you're still with the child, right? Because there's some boundaries that need to be set. Like, this is our bedtime, right? Meal time, we eat at the table, right? So many boundaries. And, when you don't have those boundaries, it dips into your time together. And we have 6 kids, so you better believe I was like, let's go. Boundary, 8 o'clock, 8:01. Why are you not in bed, right? I mean, I had to really be intentional, because, with so many kids, it's easy for kids to take over your time with no boundaries set. And you'll never have, everybody's like, wait a minute, you got 6 kids. So you had some time now. Hold on, Leona. You had some time if you got 6 kids. Woo! But still, those boundaries need to be set. So emotions, environment, and boundaries. So I'm going to open it up to just kind of share, let me ask the Zimmermans. I know you have 3 children. I think, wait. The Msefyas, they have the youngest child out of the group. But Zimmermans, let me ask you, with really emotions or environment or boundaries, how have that played a part in fostering intimacy with you? And then share any other tips that would be good for us to learn from.
Yeah, I totally love those 3 things, Leona. And we talk about like the state. So when you come into, like, you have to think about your state. And I love what you said about, just really kind of getting into that space of, fostering intimacy, and you have to have the right mindset. And so that's something that, Garrett and I are really conscious of is, sometimes we just need to, if we've had a long day, we need to just like kind of almost like separate and like decompress and then connect again. And that is so, so, so important, especially because, we both have busy jobs. We've both got, we've got the kids here, and so for us, it's just important that we take that time for ourselves first. And it's almost like unselfishly selfish, right? Where you're like, you have to be selfish so that you can then pour into the relationship and pour into the intimacy. And so I absolutely agree with you on that. I think it's so important. I think that, you know, also, again, like you said, this setting for us, you know, if our kids are home, we typically go out because, you know, obviously there's more of an opportunity to connect and really just kind of get lost in each other when we're not distracted. And I think that a lot of the times, you know, you mentioned about the cell phones, like we have a rule that, you know, we don't have cell phones when we're out on date night, unless it's to take a photo or a selfie or something. Like we don't. And it's just, I think it's so important that when you're in that place that you are really just focused on each other and focused on, you know, it doesn't matter, you know, it's like Garrett always says, you know, like everything out there for the most part can wait. Everything out that's going to distract you, it's still going to be there when we're done our date or when we're finished being intimate with each other. Like it's all still going to be there. And so kind of just having that mindset of like, when you're in it, be all in, you know, and really just make sure that you're just pouring into one another when you're in that space.
Yeah, what we've found is the quality of connection improves. And then you start to desire it more frequently because you've made yourself available and present. And I think, you know, what you talked about, Leona, is so true. When you're trying to do something kind of 50%, 60%, you're not all in, you're going to get 50, 60% of the results and you're not going to enjoy it, or you're going to be more frustrated by it, which is going to potentially lead to that resentment or that, oh, here we go again. Like, do I have to? You know, these are the types of things we hear with couples, and we encourage them to remove distractions, take away those things that can really negatively impact the quality of your intimacy. Because we believe that the level of intimacy you have in your marriage is what separates your marriage relationship from every other relationship you have, be it a friend, a colleague, a parent, even your kids. Mm-hmm. So intimacy in relationship, if you don't prioritize it, no one else will. And that's why it's so important. And, you know, you asked the question, how do you maintain this with kids in the home? Well, yeah, we've got 3 boys, 12, 13, and 14.
Busy boys.
They are busy, they are curious, they are active, they are challenging, all the things. So a little tip, it's something we can speak to from experience. We do this in our relationship, and we encourage others to try it because, one, it's a lot of fun. Secondly, you kind of feel like you're kind of being a bit taboo, should we say? But set your alarm for like 3:30, 4 a.m. when you know the kids are all asleep. You know it's just going to be the 2 of you up, hopefully. And set the alarm, wake up, and you don't even have to say anything. There's no, you know, lead up verbally. It's just, let's be intimate. Let's have some fun with each other. Let's be curious. And hey, if it's a beautiful night and we got a full moon out the window, let's pull up the blind and make it like it is in the movies and have some fun with each other. And then let's go back to sleep. Let's recharge. And then our alarm's going to go off in the morning and we'll start up our day. And this is something we've done because we acknowledge, okay, this is challenging. What can we do? Well, that's something you can do. It's simple, it's fun, it's exciting, and we encourage you to try it. We do, we love it. It's awesome.
Wow, did you guys take notes on that master class? That was amazing. So good, so good. Oh yes, absolutely. And so so Labradors, out of emotions, environment, boundaries, what really has been pivotal for you in your marriage to really foster intimacy?
Go ahead. I'll let you start.
Go ahead. I love what Garrett said about removing distractions, because did those distractions really add value to your marriage or building towards intimacy anyway? When we strip back, we're not adding value. That's just they're time suckers. So I just wanted to say kudos to Garrett for saying that. But
yeah, I mean, I think one of the things, I think just a challenge that we can look at is, oftentimes, just from an individual basis, we complain about what we permit. We can complain about what's taking place, complain about we're not having intimacy or not connecting like we'd like to, or he's not doing this or she's not doing that. And so there's a quote that I always love that says, like, how are you complicit in creating the conditions you say you don't want? Right? You're saying, I don't want this. I don't want to have this. I want deeper intimacy. But how are you complicit in helping create that? So I would just say, like, for us, it's like there might be moments and times where one person is just maybe struggling. It's a little bit difficult for them. How do I step in that moment, or Shan step into that moment to love that person, to come alongside, to invest, to pursue, even when maybe they're not reciprocating at that moment? And so keep being consistent in intimacy. And I know we say, well, it's hard to have by myself. I hear you, but there are things in terms of the emotional intimacy and connection that you just don't get frustrated and then shut down. Continue to pursue, continue to make bids towards each other, continue to connect, continue to have conversation, continue to create those moments, inviting them into that. Because oftentimes we hear with, especially my husbands that I may work with, their wife has built a wall up. And they think doing A, B, and C for those 2 weeks is going to be that wall has come down, and it hasn't, right? It went up quick, but it comes down layer by layer, brick by brick at times. And so how to be consistent, and I think for us, that's what it's been, is finding moments to be really consistent in that.
yeah.
It's a different season for us because we had, I think, the oldest kids of every on here. Our kids are gone, both married, out of the house. And we're on the road doing our ministry. And so in the midst of that, yeah, we still have to, even though you're by yourself, you still have to make intentional time to connect, to invest.
Yeah.
And even though we're together all the time, and I say that in a good way, we still have to be intentional about our date nights, about the time that we spend with one another, about making that time and separating things, because just being in the same room or just laying in the bed with each other doesn't necessarily mean you're connecting,
building intimacy,
or you're building intimacy.
And because we are together 24/7, I feel like it can all roll together into one. So Javier's been very good about, like, we have a coaching call. We'll be done at 4 p.m. today. We're not doing anything else the rest of the night. We're going to go out to dinner. We're going to go for a walk. We're going to do something. And I'm like, oh, okay. So he intentionally creates moments. Otherwise, it just turns into, well, I'll make dinner and then we'll maybe watch a show and maybe go through some emails, and it just meshes into one. So he's very intentional about building intimacy, even being in 400 square feet for 24/7.
Yeah. And I would say the last thing, I think busyness is an enemy of intimacy. So I think when you are consistently busy and occupying your time and filling your time, there's either a struggle you're having with it, right? Or we're just busy. And when people tell us, oh, we're just busy, like, that's a bad excuse. I'm sorry. If you're saying that to your spouse, like, no, we need to talk, because that's just a poor excuse that we're too busy. We got this going on with the kids. Like, what matters to you, you're going to make time for. And so this is something that has to be an absolute priority.
You find time to golf every week.
Right.
You find time to go get Starbucks every day.
Here you go. I think you can find time to do this.
Okay, there we go. That was so good. I got it. So I was like, where's my mute button? Hold on, wait, where's my mute button? So listen, woo, that's so good. That's so good. And it makes me think about, as Mr. Zimmerman was saying, I'll make him sound old, Mr. Zimmerman, the quality of your presence. When he said, I said, come on, the quality, right? If you want that, oh, I'm sorry, with your phone, oh, would you say, oh, yeah, I got this from whatever, Old Navy, and you're going back, like, the quality is. And so if you don't put in the quality of your presence with each other, that's what you're going to get back. And then you're not going to be like, ooh, I can't wait to have that lack of quality again. That was so amazing. Let's do that again. No, you're not. It's not going to work. So, and then, the Labrador is so good. And especially because you guys have business together. And I love it. Wait, okay, so if you guys didn't catch that, the name of their coaching business is 24/7. And so when they said they're together 24/7, they're living the brand, right? They're living the brand. So I know everybody wouldn't catch this, so I had to bring that back home, but so good, right? And so that intentionality, okay, we're done checking emails. Now it's us time, right? Because when you have your us time and then it's time to pour into other couples, the quality of that us time is going to permeate in as you're sharing from a coach, right? Because you're living the life you're talking about, right? We always say to singers, live the life that you sing about in your song, right? Marriage coaches live the life that you coach about in your life, right? So Joseph and Marissa, man, add to the conversation. I know it's so much, right? But just add to your conversation with the emotions, environment, boundaries. What stood out to you?
Yes, first of all, let me say that I like how each of us represent a different stage of parenting and life, I guess, because we are, as Leona hinted at earlier, we're like the newish parents. We have the toddler, and then the Zimmermans, they have like the teenagers, and so does Leona and Omarr, but they also are empty nesters, or the Labradors are empty nesters. So we kind of represent the full spectrum. And so being newish parents with a toddler, things obviously can be very, very challenging. But one thing we always like to talk about with couples and in our ministry is the importance of all 5 intimacies. And we touched on emotions. And one thing that really stood out was how we need to focus on the spiritual intimacy, the grounding, the foundation, because once we focus on that, which we found our own marriage, that, exponentially increased in so many other areas. So we like to say, when your spiritual intimacy is solid, then your sexual intimacy is strong. Everything is very much connected. And so it helps with your emotional intimacy, your financial intimacy, and even just that experiential or that physical intimacy, wanting to be near each other, as the Zimmermans were talking about. And so I would say boundaries stood out the most. That's something that we talk a lot about and focus on, because we agree with the Labradors that busyness kills intimacy. It kills it. And it's an intimacy killer, a marriage killer, whatever you want to call it. It really devastates and can destroy the marriage. And so one thing that Joseph and I have implemented, and this is all through trial and error, is boundaries around our time. Boundaries around our time, what we give life to, what we allow people to take from us, and what we dedicate our time to. Because like everybody else on here, we work together. We're together all the time, especially in the pandemic. And so we parent together. We're married together. We're in ministry together. Before the pandemic, we were serving in the church together. So we were doing so many things together. And I think at a certain point in time, we're like, wow, we really need to have protected time. This is time where it's just us. It's just us. Date nights are good, but I'm talking about more than that. We realize we need multiple connection points throughout the week in order to build and continuously build, as Leona talks about, that intimacy, because it starts before the bedroom.
Yeah, no, like a lot of great points. I don't even know which one to, try to piggyback on. I would say the one thing that I noticed when every couple was talking, or at least from the perspective of the husbands, the success comes as a husband, especially in your intimacy. That success comes when you understand the uniqueness between the two of you. We feel, that your wife is different from you. Men and women are different. So when you understand that we are different and connecting then will take extra effort. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it's worth the effort, but it will take extra effort. So when you understand that my wife needs 20 minutes to be there, I don't need any time to be there. So how do I help her along with her being present with me during this date night? You know, does she need her own independent time? Does she need, you know, me to ask probing questions for her to be brief on her, you know, her day? Or you understanding yourself, what do you need to be fully present? So, you know, connects, you know, and Marissa alluded to this, you know, also the second point to understand is that, you know, that intimacy, that physical intimacy, that sexual intimacy in your bedroom, for your wife, that begins way before the bedroom. That began before she woke up this morning. That began, you know, before last week. So, you know, and different from you, and maybe, you know, I'm overgeneralizing, but for most men, you don't need any prep time. You know what I'm saying? I'm ready to go right now. Let's go. Let's do it. But it's different for her. So I also understanding that, and also, you know, understanding what hindrances would you have to remove to allow her to be fully present. You know, if she's thinking about the dishes on the, you know, on the sink that, you know, weren't washed the night before, you know, how can you come along and help her with that? You know what I'm saying? In fact, that's how you have divided your chores in the house. How do I alleviate and give her time to prepare, you know, where I can pick up the extra slack, maybe order the meal to, you know, order dinner today, or put the kids to bed, to allow her that time to prepare so you two can experience that phenomenal, exciting time that you're dreaming of together.
Yeah, and one last thing I wanted to say was the three boundaries. There's 5 that we feel that are most overlooked, but 3 that we want to talk about today and acknowledge today is time, people, and tech. And I think all of us have touched on that, but I want those who are watching, to really understand that once you protect your time and understand who you're giving your energy to, that's people, and then also your technology, your phone, computer, being plugged in. Sometimes you just have to disconnect and unplug.
Wow, listen, I hope you guys are getting all this. This is, you know, it's good. It's nice to hear other people articulate what you're going through, right? So if you've learned nothing else, know that you're not alone. You're not alone. The little disagreements you might have with your spouse, we've all been there, right? And so this is just so good. So, you know, again, we are CounterCulture Marriages, and we're just going to wrap up with one key point. Like, if you need a couple, you know, so I want all of us to think about, if a couple's like, you know, I try to talk to him, you know, I can't get his attention. I can't get, you know, all guys aren't in the same category. All women aren't in the same category. You know, some of us are uniquely wired in, you know, different ways, but you know, what does couples need? What is the thing that they can do today? What is a couple's next best step? And so if I were to think about that, you know, what is a couple who is struggling with intimacy? And it's not always sexual intimacy. I mean, intimacy where we're intimately together. You're my only priority. I'm their only priority, right? Vice versa. Like, we are intimately present. We're not intimately present to talk about our jobs. We're not intimately present to talk about the soccer practice that you're supposed to take them to, right? We're present. So, you know, one thing I would say to couples is, your next thing you can do today is to actually tell your spouse, you know what? Let's take 10 minutes and just, you know, meet me in the living room. We're just going to sit and just talk for 10 minutes. Not about anything. Don't come with an agenda. I got a list of things I've been waiting to ask you. And so why, right. We're not doing that. Just take 10 minutes and just sit and talk and catch up. Find 10 minutes today. Oh, you can find 10 minutes today. Don't tell me, but no, stop it. Because if your golf buddy, come on, golf. If your golf buddy said, hey, man, can you meet me at the range in 20 minutes? You'll be like, I'll be right there. You would say, you know what? Sorry, I was getting ready to let me go. And you would find a way to do it, right? So I need you to find a way to do it. Take 10 minutes and just reset and connect with your spouse. That's one advice I would give. So Zimmerman's, what's that one thing a couple can do today to kind of reset intimacy?
I think it's really simple for us. It's stop assuming and start asking. I think we see it and we talk about it with couples where they assume that their partner just knows because we've been together this long. They should just know me. They should just know how I feel. Nobody is a mind reader. Your partner does not know what's going on in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
So get curious.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Get curious.
Get curious.
Yeah.
Ask questions and really clarify and make it known what it is that you're maybe struggling with or challenged by or that's consuming you.
Or even just ask them, you know, what is intimacy to you? You know, what is your definition of intimacy? Because a lot of times couples have a different definition of what that is. And so you want to make sure that at the end of the day, you're on the same page about what intimacy looks like, feels like. You know, you want to make sure that you're all on the same wavelength on that.
Awesome. That's good, because you know what, that was one of the questions. We had some people share some questions. And listen, if you're listening to us now and you have some questions, drop them below in the chat, and we will definitely be following up and taking those questions and incorporating into the shares that we provide. And so, but one of the questions was, what is intimacy? Like, answer that individually for yourself. What is intimacy? Have that conversation with your spouse, right? I love that. Don't assume, ask, get curious. I mean, at 7 o'clock this morning, I was talking on Instagram Live about the art of curiosity. Come on. So that's so good. That's so good, because we get frustrated. Listen, okay, then I'm coming over to Joseph and Marissa. We get frustrated about what our spouse should know. We assumptively get frustrated with something we've never even communicated. Like, you all upset and feeling some kind of way, and they have no idea.
Skipping through the tulips, just like la 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 la. I'm good. What's wrong with you?
Right. Right. And you're like, but you were supposed to. And so when wives say that to me, but he knows, you said it, Garrett, we've been together 20 years. He knows how I am. I don't care. You need to communicate, right? What you don't communicate, you can't expect someone else to know. We're not mind readers, right? And so it's so important. And you'll be surprised, because what fuels our thinking at the moment, we're not thinking about just yesterday. Maybe we talked about something and you should know what to do today, right? So ask those questions. So good, so good. So Joseph, Marissa, what is one thing somebody can do today to foster intimacy and get that much closer to the intimacy in marriage?
Yeah, I love how it was stated that we cannot assume, and it's great to ask questions. In that same line, I would say do a values assessment. It's something that we usually recommend when couples are at odds and just are not able to find their footing or agreement in a particular area, and they've tried everything that they can, but really getting back to what do you care about most in your marriage? And oftentimes we'll find that you care about the same things, they're just at different levels. You're prioritizing them differently. And so it's important for couples who are experiencing this just to start off with a simple, sheet of paper and start writing out, maybe start with 5, write out 5 values, things that you care most about, things that are concerning to you in your marriage, and then come together as a couple and see where there's alignment and disalignment and start having discussions. So this is another opportunity to start talking, so you're not in your head and you're really articulating those feelings, and your spouse can see, oh, okay, I see what you're coming from. And hopefully, prayerfully, you'll start to find a way forward from that conversation.
So good. And so let's So Labradors, what is that one tip that couple can start to reset intimacy today?
Yeah, we'll be quick. And I think just coming back to just some fundamental basics, that anything given to the Lord first, right, won't be lost. So I think for couples that actually come together, if they're struggling, let's just start in the beginning, like pray, like come together, pray, repent, and make a decision that you're going to move forward in this stronger, be more intentional about it, but like surrender that and be more intentional with it, but give it to the Lord first and it won't be lost. So start in that place, and maybe it's a reset for them to do that. But I think it's a place to start and then begin to build from there. Because even out of the intimacy in your own walk with God, the overflow of that, you'll be able to love your spouse well.
Yeah.
So good, so good. So we are going to end here, and I'm just going to pray. I'm going to pray for all couples who are coming across this live, who are like, you know what, I don't even know where to start, but this has been a great start. So now I know I'm not alone, the things that we talked about. And so again, we are CounterCulture Marriages. Next week, we'll be coming to you. We'll be live on Instagram platform. And so we're going to take this to another level and deep dive into more conversation. And so make sure you follow us here on Facebook. So this would be, here on Facebook, and in the comments below, I have all of our IGs there. So make sure you follow each one of us, and, stay connected with us, and go to CounterCultureMarriages.com so that you can continue to follow our journey, and then grab your free gift. And the free gift is a cell phone wallpaper, and it has a quote from each of us on the cell phone wallpaper. So we're going to just pray as we kind of wrap up. So dear Heavenly Father, God, we thank you for the couples that are listening to us. God, the couples that are frustrated, don't know where to go. They want to hold on to their marriage, but they don't know the next best step. And so, God, I ask you to empower this couple, empower the wife, empower the husband, to let them know when they seek you first, other things are not lost, as it was said. And so teach them their next best step, God. Help them to get connected to community and coaches that are going to help them, save their marriage, help them up level their marriage, because God, we know that marriages is created by you. The covenant of marriage is created by you. And so, God, there might be times where we're trying to naturally maintain a spiritual covenant, and that's where the disconnect is. So God, help us to go back to the original intent in which you created marriage. And so bless every marriage, every home that comes across this live. And God, we thank you and we praise you in Jesus' name. Amen. So we will see you all next time. Make sure you put your comments below. Any takeaways, drop them in the comment, and we will follow up. Till next time, bye.
I guess that was our cue.